What mistakes have you seen so far in the conference? I mean, in terms of organization, I'm sure you've been following the activities and how, there's been furore over the committees.
One is the non-representation of a number of professional bodies that have to do with what they are doing there. Mm-hmm. You can see that MBA is not represented.
MBA chose not to be represented.
No.
They were given a slot, at least one slot.
Consider this.
They turned it down.
Consider the population of members of MBA in Nigeria. It's very, very big. And they ought not to be represented by only one person.
But when you also look at the number of delegates there, you also know that they are very well respected lawyers. In fact, many senior advocates of Nigeria. Do you think that they would have let their constituency down as well? I'm talking about the MBA itself.
Let me tell you, they have all gone there to represent certain interests. And not all of them will form part of the committee on law and all other related issues concerning judicial matters. Not all of them will be in that committee. And not all of them will have opportunity of even contributing when they get to the plenary, when the report has been submitted.
But more specifically, you haven't said in very concrete terms what the contribution of CIPM would have been to this conference.
I must let you know that we have a lot of role to play. See the issue of public service. There's a committee on public service that has been set up by the National Confab. I've seen a number of bureaucrats retired to serve in that committee, but the absence of the CIPM in that committee will eventually affect the outcome of the report or the final decision of the National Confab. Because aside from public sector outlook, private sector outlook has to be put together in the running of the affairs of this country so as to ensure that we move forward. We have not been moving forward at all.
Moving forward quickly, because this is not about the CIPM, though you said, well, you wrote to the presidency on this particular matter, and, this anomaly, which you call an anomaly, wasn't corrected. Going forward, we have seen what has happened in the confab, in the conference, and, committees have been set up. And there's also the talk about religion yesterday making front page, even though finally we've seen that they have moved on to see how they can actually sort this out. Do you think with some of this bickering about religious committees and different committees that have finally come up in this conference wouldn't hamper the ultimate goal of this conference?
Suleiman, I must let you know that of all the 20 committees set up, I have not seen a single one that was not properly constituted. I've gone through the list. I'm impressed by the list that I've seen. Members of all the committees that I've seen, I have seen that the leadership of the National Confab have painstakingly gone into the background of members before placing them where they placed them. Now specifically on the issue of Committee on Religion, I'm a Muslim, but I'm seriously disturbed about the reaction of Khan to the composition of the Committee on Religions. This is because Khan is a highly respected religious body in the society today, representing the entire Christians in this country. And the problem we are facing in this country is that of security, political, and even corruption or whatnot. Religious bodies ought to be above sentiment, parochialism, and unnecessary sensation. I'm here with a copy of The Guardian of yesterday, Khan rejects composition of confab panel on religion. And I went through the list of members of the committee. I discovered that there are 17. the 17 members of the committee has Malam Nuruddin Lemu as the chairman. Can questions the appointment of Nuruddin Lemu as the chairman? On what basis?
Sir,
The basis is that his father was a Grand Cadi,
No, I think
and the chairman
let me come in
is
here
from
because
the
when
same state with him.
When that story,
Yes.
broke yesterday,
Yeah.
Khan brought a release denouncing itself from that particular
Beautiful.
report. So I think it was a misleading headline we got.
Thank you very
because
much.
Khan went ahead to even publish names of all committees members and said,
Thank you
well,
very
they
much.
were never against that composition.
Thank you very much. You see, an individual who has anything to talk about should refrain from using the platform of religion or the platform of a well-respected religious body. I can only speak for myself. But if I speak as a member of the Muslim community, I have the supreme body that oversees the affairs of the entire Muslims in this country, and this is the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs. Since you said the statement has been disclaimed by Khan, I'm happy about that, and I congratulate the entire Christians of this country. In this committee, we have 2 Muslim professors. We have 2 Christian professors.
Just a moment,
We
sir.
have 2 bishops, 1 monsignor, and a pastor.
You talked about
So
17
we leave the
members.
statement to the person who has issued it, but Khan should find a way of ensuring that any member of his fold do not just go to the media and issue reckless statement to create bad impression about our brothers in Christian faith.
Especially when they're, based on things that are not true. I mean, you just talked about another list made up of 17 members in a
Yeah.
mail sent by the National Confab 2014, which seems to be the official email of the members of the conference, there. They say that they actually have 21 committees made up of 11 Muslims and 10 Christians. So in some ways, do you not think that we too were in a hurry in terms of, quickly condemning? They released a press statement talking about that particular topic. Khan rejects committee composition. We've seen so many other reactions here, one from Muslim Rights Concern and what have you, also condemning the alleged statement or the statement allegedly made by Khan without really waiting for a reaction or a confirmation as to whether or not that statement was really from Khan.
So by extension,
We should be guided. Sometimes in the past, the leadership of Khan itself have owned up to have issued statements bordering on Muslims is given this, Muslims is given that. You recall what happened at the National Confab?
With respect to this particular case.
But on this particular case, Akpandem James, he was the one who signed this. That's the Assistant Secretary of Media and Communications, to say, they rejected that publication in the Daily, that's not the true representation. And they had to give names and, of all committee members on religion.
And a breakdown of how they arrived at the composition and the number of people. So do you not think
that person who issued the statement was questioning why a member from Khan was not made chairman of a committee? You now ask such a person, was Professor Oloyede, the Secretary General of Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, in that committee, made chairman of any committee?
He has the
leadership that has a chairman,
but
a
the
Muslim,
subsequent statement has
vice chairman,
debunked
a Christian, the secretary to the committee, a Christian.
They
What else do people want?
So you
Some
still
people
believe-
just want to use we have enough problems on our hands. Some people want to use religion to create more problems for us.
But
Whereas
don't you think that-
religious persons
Don't you think
should
that-
be part of solving the problems.
But you didn't check your well.
Pastor Register for yesterday.
But you didn't check
I
well
had the
yourself.
statement that he made
Just
somewhere.
a minute.
Okay.